Hey y'all, it's your girl J. Elaine, and welcome back to another episode of The Back End. The Back End is a series dedicated to entrepreneurs on their journey of navigating the back end of their businesses, their endeavors, and so on. Let's get into it. So if you are new here, welcome. If you are not new, welcome back. We published or premiered our very first episode of The Back End last Wednesday, okay? So you can expect to get a new episode of The Back End each and every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you ain't doing nothing, come hang out with your girl on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. as we kind of chit chat about different topics of the back end of your entrepreneurship journey or your business, whether that has to do with DIYs, tutorials, talk throughs like we're going to be doing today, and so forth. But let's go ahead and get into it. And y'all know I got my handy dandy cue cards. So we're going to go ahead and today we'll be discussing some things to know, or some things to kind of be aware of, to know, aware of, same thing. But some things to be aware of before getting the keys. So if you didn't know, I opened a content creation studio based in Broward County, Florida last year, February, and the journey has truly been rewarding. But y'all, I'm not gonna flex y'all. It's hard, okay? It has been so hard, and there are so many things that I wish I would have known beforehand. Honestly, there's things that, as it is with anything new, right? Anything you start, any new hobbies, any new endeavors, there's things that you wish you knew beforehand. There's things that you were aware of. There's things that you wish you knew how to do. Like, the list goes on. And today and so forth, your girl is going to make sure that you all are prepared when opening a brick and mortar, or getting keys to a office, a suite, a studio, whatever the case may be, a storefront. I want to make sure that I can at least drop some things in your mind, or drop some things in your thought process that'll kind of get you thinking before you make that, you know, that huge decision of signing a lease, moving into a studio or office, whatever. Okay, so yeah, so I opened Create Here Studio. Let me rewind. I opened Create Here Studio last year in February, but it has been in the works, y'all, for almost 3 years, and it was something I've always wanted to do since. I want to make sure I'm giving y'all realistic time. So I think around like 2016 is when I really had the idea of doing something like this. And it wasn't until 3 years ago where I really was doing the planning, giving it a name, you know, filling up all these shopping carts online with different furniture I may have wanted, starting a website, securing the Instagram handle. There's a lot of things that I was doing before I actually signed my lease and got into this space. That's neither here nor there. We'll discuss that as well. But I just wanted to make sure y'all know your girl been doing, let me stop. But I've been doing this, been thinking about it, but by the grace of God, I was granted the opportunity to actually open. And again, it's been rewarding, but it has not been easy, okay? So before getting the keys, which is the title of this episode, will soon be its very own series. I will walk you all through in depth and in detail different things that I did, as far as, like, you know, getting a place remodeled, purchasing furniture, business credit, scouting a spot, you know, how to communicate with landlords, all of that jazz, y'all. Because let me tell y'all, again, it has been a lot, okay? So I really want this video to be as relaxed as possible, as I do with any other video on my YouTube channel. Like, we're not trying to give y'all corporate setting here. We're not trying to give y'all a Fortune 500. Though I would love the banks of a Fortune 500, I'm not too fond of the atmosphere in the environment. So we're going to keep it as lax as possible. I'm going to try to keep it as real as possible, y'all. I'm going to be straightforward, genuine. And of course, I throw in pop-ups here and there with any resources, with specific topic titles, things of that nature. Let's just get into it, okay? So opening a physical location for me, I would say the biggest thing that made it different for me was my age. And I know with the time period that we're in, like the era we're in, y'all, I come from a generation of hustlers, okay? My generation, we hustlers. I don't care what nobody say. Older people try to say we lazy, but that's just not true. A lot of us are hustlers, so it's like when we know we want something, when I know I want something, okay, I'm gonna go get it. And I think my age has been being real, a self-esteem factor for me, as well as just something that a lot of people try me on. And when I say self-esteem factor, I psych myself out of a lot of things that I want to do, or the spaces that I'm in, or the spaces that I could be in, because I'm always thinking of my age, like, oh, I'm young, oh, I haven't experienced this yet, or whatever the case may be. Though I have experienced a lot, it's a lot of things that I haven't experienced, and that comes with age. So I allow my age to be a huge factor in this journey when it shouldn't have been. But I will say that was one of the biggest things that kind of hindered me, because there was a lot of things that I didn't know, a lot of terminology I didn't know, and I'm going to talk about that as well. But yeah, y'all, my age. And people tried me when they found out my age, because I do look older. At least I'm told I look older. When I was in the process of meetings, like meeting up with different locations and like meeting up with different landlords and rent finders and things like that, conversation was always different, y'all, once they found out how old I was. Like when they found out how old I was, that's when the games began. Like they started straight playing in my face. And not even just that, there was a lot of things that I did in the beginning with my father. Like we was going to different locations, scouting different locations, you know, just checking out what the market was like and possible, you know, locations for us to kind of settle in. And going alone was a different story than going with a man, ladies. Y'all know what I mean. So yeah, that was a whole thing. But once I got over that hurdle, of course, with a lot of prayer and patience, here we are, y'all. Here we are, and I don't regret any of it. Okay, don't regret none of it. I'm so excited to see where we are within the next couple of years. Within the next couple of months. But again, that's neither here nor there. We'll discuss that in different videos. So the very first thing, the very first thing that I did when I knew I had this idea, y'all, I got to planning. Like, it started to consume my life, which isn't good. Don't let it do that. But it started to consume my life, y'all. Like everything I was doing, everything I wanted to do, I would sit in my room for hours. I got a dedicated binder, and we'll talk about that later on in this video. And I got a dedicated notebook, and of course my phone. I got a whole album of screenshots. Like, it started to consume my life. I started thinking about layouts, possible layouts. What was even the gist of my location, right? What was it going to include? What type of services, what type of products would I offer? What would it look like? What was the vibe? What was the environment? What locations or what areas would I be okay with being in? Y'all, furniture. Oh my goodness, furniture, artwork, you know, if it needed remodeling, would I be doing it on my own, or would we be hiring contractors, buying cleaning supplies? Y'all, that's a whole nother, baby, them cleaning supplies, let me tell y'all, people don't be respecting your business, because why y'all be coming in here using so many napkins? Why y'all need all them napkins after y'all wash y'all hands? For real, because I'm tired of buying napkins. But that's something else too with business credit and purchasing in bulk. Of course, I'll go into depth on those topics with the before getting the keys series. But yeah, y'all, plan everything to a T. Okay, I'm gonna show y'all something real quickly, because I want to get into this binder later, but I'm gonna show y'all a section in this binder where I literally was planning everything to a T. So I'm gonna kind of slide it out some. This is my binder. Pretty thick. Okay, it's a lot going on in here. But when I first was scouting out the location, I first started off with the vision that I felt God gave me and how I felt the studio should have looked, or how my layout should have been. And I started jotting it down, like literally sketching it out and all of that jazz. So I'm going to show you all that. So I got some colored pencils, and I got to work, y'all. Like, I don't know if y'all can see it. I really feel like a YouTuber now. But I got to work with sketching it out, giving it labels, like just really getting a visual idea of what it was that I'm about to move into. Like, and let me tell y'all something. Side note, before I even moved into the studio, before I even had the money to move into the studio, before I even, you know, started making actual steps, like we started actually doing things, I had already had the website up. I had already had the, well, at least the website ready to publish. I already had my Instagram page up, and I was posting stuff with no followers. Like, I was moving as if the business was already in operation. And that's a word, y'all. I literally started making room for Create Here Studio. I was moving as if it was already mine, building my carts, purchasing things off Amazon, building an Amazon wishlist. Like, I was already moving like it was mine. When it came to planning, I had already knew for a fact my desk was going to be here. It was going to look like this. This room was going to have this, and it was going to look like this. Like, the planning was to a T. But one thing I did learn was there is never too much planning that you can do. Don't allow, so I had a lot of people telling me like, oh, you know, slow down, you know, take your time, don't rush the process. And don't rush your process, but there's never a such thing as too much planning. Plan everything. But also, y'all, with planning, be okay when the plan doesn't always go as vision. So that was another thing, was me being okay with the pivot, me being okay with things not always happening the way I initially planned it. But at least I had a standpoint. At least I had somewhere to start from, and I wasn't just pulling things out of thin air trying to get this business up and running. Because the goal of the business, honestly, no matter what people try to tell you, oh, it's not for the money. Yes, it is. Because bills need to be paid. Okay, rent ain't free. Lights are not free. And especially with my particular business, I pull a lot of energy all day long. We got cameras running, lights running, AC running, refrigerators, microwave. Like, there's a lot of things running. This stuff costs money. So it takes proper planning. Planning your marketing strategies. That was something else I planned in the beginning. How am I going to market my business? What is my audience like? Who do I want to attract? What type of people do I see coming into Create Here Studio and actually creating here? So that was a big thing, because I said in the beginning, I'm not giving corporate. I'm not trying to be no Fortune 500, because that environment does not seem genuine to the creative that I am and the creatives that I have congregated with, or the creators that I have built community with. So I knew that's not what I wanted Create Here Studio to be, because it wouldn't have been authentic, right? Plan everything. I don't care what nobody say. Plan it all and put it all in one space. So again, I used a binder, I used a notebook, and then of course I had like a separate album created in my cellular device. So plan everything and give it a space, give it its own home. I am a firm believer, and I stand on writing the vision and make it plain. Write the vision, make it plain. Every plan that you make, every idea that comes to mind, jot it down. Do not let it, do not take it lightly either. That's another thing, y'all. Do not take your visions lightly. Okay, don't take your visions lightly, because that's almost like telling God that, oh, it's small. There's no such thing as a small vision. Anything that's placed on your heart to do, especially when it comes to your business, give it your all. Give it your all. Give it your all. Don't take it lightly. Write it down. Plan everything. Another thing that I hopped into immediately was like legalizing everything. So getting my LLC. I have not done the process of actually trademarking yet, but that's what I'm in the process of doing. One thing about that trademarking situation, y'all, don't try to do that alone. And that's what I thought I was going to do, was do it alone. But that took a whole nother realm of learning. Like, that was going to take me sitting down, learning terminology, learning how to use the different, learning how to use the platform, learning how to respond when I get, you know, kickback or whatever the case may be when I actually file the trademark. Like, y'all, get a trademark lawyer. I cannot stress that enough. Get a trademark lawyer. Do not try to do it alone. But definitely file for your LLC with your state. I know if you're in Florida, you can go to sunbiz.org, file your LLC registration. Go ahead and get your EIN number. Like, start compiling all of that stuff immediately. And as you do it, put it in your binder. So put it in your binder, print it out, put dates on everything. Like, I did this on this date, I did that on that date. Another thing to keep in mind too, when filing a LLC, you do have to file annually for that LLC to keep it updated. So immediately get a calendar, or if you decide to go the binder route, I would suggest printing out like calendar pages and jotting down that, you know, for a fact, every year around this time, I need to file my annual report. I need to go and refile this permit. I need to file the taxes, whatever the case may be. Same thing with the taxes when it comes to like legalizing and everything. For me in Florida, like for me in my location, y'all, the permits, the licensing, the amount of stuff that I had to file, tiresome. It made no sense how much stuff I had to file, from, you know, making sure that I was up to code, getting all of my what is the word, inspections, making sure the building was up to code, all of my sprinklers, the emergency exits, the fire alarm, the fire extinguisher, also having to actually get my sales state license. So going through with that. I'm in the city of Coral Springs, so I had to go and get a business license for the city of Coral Springs, plus my business license for the state. Like, it's a lot. Like, the list goes on and on and on. Do your research on what's required for that area. Another thing with legalizing, y'all, I wish I would have did this, but look at the businesses in your area and see how they're filed, because you can do that. You can search up their names, see how they're filed, what they're filing under, like what type of permits and things they're operating under, because it gives you an idea of, okay, what should I be doing? But that's pretty much that for legalizing. Like, get all that stuff out of the way. Under legalizing, I'm gonna also throw in, and we talked about it a little in planning, but I'm gonna throw in getting your domain, like getting that domain name, solidifying that Instagram name, like just snatch that stuff on up before somebody else get it before you, and just have it ready for when you're ready to go, when you're ready to open. Again, there's never too much planning that can be done in this process. So even if you decide to go ahead and hire a web designer in the beginning, you already know for a fact that name is yours. The Instagram handle is yours, Facebook, Twitter, whatever the case may be. Do all that stuff in the beginning. Another thing that was like really helpful for me in the beginning when it came to like planning and budgeting and all of that stuff was I did a lot of like jotting down. So I don't know what the correct term for that would be, y'all, but I was creating like tables, and y'all, Google Sheets was my best friend. Google Sheets, I was creating a lot of tables and Excel sheets, and I would create like little boxes to let me know, okay, this is my to-do list, this is when it needs to be done, and I would have a box for a checkbox if I did it or if I didn't do it, when it needs to be done, the dates it needs to be done by. I also had, when it came to planning and legalizing all of that, I had a box that kept my EIN number and the website I need to go to actually use the EIN when it's time to file my taxes and things like that. All of my document numbers for my LLC, like I kept all that stuff handy, ready to go. It's in my binder, it's in notebooks, I have it printed, and it's in these Google Sheets. Okay, you're not gonna catch me slacking, period. So with that, jotting everything down, making sure you have it ready to go. And the reason why I did all of that first is because my next topic, I went into crowdfunding. So though I didn't launch my crowdfunding campaigns just yet, I needed all this stuff for crowdfunding campaigns, for grants. I did get one grant through ifundwomen.com, and I went through their program, their Courage Dreams program. We was the very first cohort, period. But I did go through them and got a $1,000 grant through them. That was a blessing. And they showed me a lot when it comes to crowdfunding. So they took us through this program on how to basically set up a irresistible campaign, right? One to help you reach your goals as far as like money goes. And then they showed you how with this particular platform, when you are raising money with iPhone Women, you have rewards. So it's kind of like people are donating for a gift. That makes sense. But there's tons of other crowdfunding campaign platforms like what's the one that everybody use? GoFundMe, Kickstart. There's so many of them that you could tap into, but I would look into crowdfunding, and with that, we had to have all of this stuff already ready to go. Even with grants, I already had to have my LLC. I had to have a website. Like, I had to look legit. So making sure I had all my planning out of the way, had all of my legal stuff out of the way, and then making sure I had everything ready to go by jotting it down, making sure it was somewhere easily accessible. Then I went into like crowdfunding. A part of crowdfunding we're gonna throw in, I also did an Amazon wish list. Let me tell y'all, my heart is so big for everyone who purchased off my Amazon wish list. Like, the support was so overwhelming. I was not expecting it. I think there was like 3 things left on my Amazon wish list after it was all said and done. And I had a lot of things on my wish list because I used it as one, kind of like a shopping list for myself. But I also was like, okay, well, if there's somebody who want to bless the studio and bless the vision, let me go ahead and make it available to where they can purchase it through this Amazon wish list. I don't have to know their address. They don't even have to know mine. Amazon's going to handle all the back end stuff. They can do a little shopping. It comes straight to the studio and we all Gucci. Y'all, it was perfect. Okay, it was so perfect. So between crowdfunding, you know, asking for help, technically that's what you're doing. You're asking for help. That's nothing, y'all. Put y'all pride aside. Put y'all pride aside. I'm taking my own advice when I say this. Put your pride aside. Opening a business is not easy, and unless your daddy and your mama them rich, okay, unless you was born in a rich family, unless you did a lot of saving, you know, you gonna need some money, okay? You're gonna need some money. But if you can alleviate some of those, you know, unnecessary costs or those small costs by asking for help, you know, launching those crowdfunding campaigns, launching them Amazon wish lists, do it, okay? Do it. Put your pride aside. Do it. The least that can happen is that nobody purchases anything, but they saw you. They saw you though. They know what you about to do though. But I guarantee you, you're gonna have at least one person to purchase off that Amazon wish list. It's like a baby registry for your business, okay? Please do it. Please do it. Please do it. So with crowdfunding and you know, the Amazon wish list and basically just letting people know that this is what we need. This is how you can help me open. With all of that also came budgeting. So I went into a very, very like depressive state at one point because I did not have a proper budget. So this is one of those things that I'm kind of helping you with because I did not do it properly. Now I knew what my bills would kind of be like. I knew every month, okay, this is how much this was going to cost. All of my bills right now are pretty like steady except for the light bill, of course. And this, y'all in my business. Okay, the light bill fluctuates, and that really just depends on like how busy of a month I have. If I have a month where I have a lot of bookings, you know, we're doing a lot of events, the light bill is usually higher. If it's a slower month, light bill is usually lower. Simple as that. But I did not budget correctly, and budgeting correctly meaning I did not realize all the expenses that I should have expected with owning this business. Because it wasn't just bills, y'all. It was them cleaning supplies. I have a like a little mock kitchenette area, so keeping that stocked. Not only cleaning supplies, but also keeping the outside area looking nice. Like there's a guy who comes by, he wipes my windows down for me, paying people to come in and clean for me, maintenance on things because I've already had a couple of things like kind of break on me, so making sure I had an expense monthly for those mishaps. So broken microphones, missing remotes for lighting, and missing remotes for the TVs, getting the TVs fixed, and then expenses like subscriptions. Y'all, there are tons of subscriptions that it takes for me to run my particular business, and I'm pretty sure it'll be the same for you. So not only like your payment processor, but things like my booking site, my actual website, my Hulu subscription, Netflix, Spotify, all of those things that I have that I'm using in the business that I have available to my customers. Those were all expenses and bills that I really did not take into consideration. And I think that's because when it's just personal, like it was my personal expense, you know, my Netflix, that stuff was coming off my Cash App card, and I didn't really care because it didn't really affect my pockets as much. But now that I need to make sure that my books balance, that everything makes sense as far as what's coming in and out of my bank account, all of that good stuff, I gotta know where this stuff coming from, where did it go, what account did it come out of, and how I'm gonna pay for it. So budgeting, y'all, is super important. Do not take that process lightly. Literally think of everything. And the next thing that I'm moving into now is really working on the savings for my business. I'm gonna be real, I wasn't doing much saving for my business. If I was, it'll be like month to month, and then something will come up and I'll end up using that. But now I really want to work on the savings where I'm not touching it at all, and that's gonna take me going back in and refining my budget. Okay, so work on that budget too in the beginning, y'all. Look up there's tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of resources where you can print out quick little budget sheets. You know, you can sit down and make one that's specific to you. I do know I am working on a couple things for the brick and mortar girlies, for business owners, period. So that'll be available soon through Hello Digital Funds. By the way, follow Hello Digital Funds on Instagram at Hello Digital Funds, and you can check us out online at www.hellodigitalfunds.com. But yeah, budgeting. Okay, so just to kind of recap what we went through so far, we talked about planning, the legalization, crowdfunding, budgeting, and y'all finna get into research a little. So Of course, research was the very first thing that you should have done, but your research never stops. You need to continually be learning as far as how can you run your business better. And that's one thing that I put my pride to the side with was, okay, I need to sit down and dedicate time to figuring out better processes, better systems, customer service, you know, how to gain business credit, like just continually doing research to make this business run smooth, because it doesn't have to be hard. It can be tedious, right? But it doesn't have to be hard, and it gets hard when you don't know what to do. So continuing on with your research, never stop researching, never stop asking for help. If you tuned into the first episode of The Back End, that was one of the 4 things that I wish I would have known in the beginning of my entrepreneurship journey, period, was asking for help. Ask for help, ask for help, ask for help. Put your pride to the side, okay? Ask for help. Another thing I want to talk about, one of my favorite things now, I want to talk about like locations and furnishing and decorating, all of that stuff. That was my favorite part, honestly, of getting Create His Studio ready to open. I had so much fun with just, you know, going to the stores, picking out things that I thought would be perfect for the space, shopping online, building my carts, all of that jazz. One thing I learned too, I keep saying one thing I learned, y'all, I learned a lot, okay? One of the things I learned was you're never going to be done with your space. Like, that was one of my main things, and that's what really helped me up with actually opening a studio, because it was not perfect. Like, I didn't have all of the furniture I wanted. I didn't have and I opened in COVID. Like, it was like the height of COVID, kind of. We were still deep in COVID, and stuff was not coming on time like it should have been. Stuff wasn't available. So that was really discouraging in the beginning, was just not being able to get the furniture I wanted. And that wasn't even just with messing with COVID and the shipping times, but that was also with funds. Like, funds started to get tight, and I'm like, okay, I gotta be smart and strategic, because this can be the most beautiful space on the block, but these bills gotta be paid still. So that was one of the things that helped me up in the beginning with actually having my grand opening and all of that jazz, because we signed the lease in February and I didn't have a grand opening until May. And even in May, I still felt like, dang, my studio is not done. Like, don't even have everything that I want to actually offer to, you know, my audience, to my customers that come up and through here. And I still feel that way. It's still things that I'm like, hey, I want to go in and fix this, want to go in and fix that. But let me tell you, Rome was not built in a day. It's a ever-growing process. It gets better with time, just like wine. And it's going to be a joyous journey to continue building on to Create His Studio, and it will be the same for you. Now, if you just got it like that and you can come out the mud swinging, kudos to you. I love that. But that is not my testimony, okay? At least not for this location, because multiple locations to come, different states. We hit in city to city. That's really just on per. So yeah, getting all my furniture and things like that, I utilize, I'm not gonna lie, like, everything don't have to be brand new. Like, there were certain things that I really just did not see the sense in purchasing brand new, like TV brackets, things like that hang on the wall. Y'all hot on OfferUp. I was using OfferUp, Craigslist, and there was another one that my people was putting me on to, but I can't remember the name of it. But we was using all those platforms, Facebook Marketplace, that I was getting little things, because again, online really wasn't onlining the way it should have been. Shipping times were horrible. A lot of things were out of stock. So I was utilizing what's around me in my community. Another thing, when I was in my planning phase, I had already had an idea of what I wanted each room to look like. Pinterest was my best friend. Okay, Pinterest was my bestie. I did a lot of planning, pulling together mood boards. I'm gonna show it to you, y'all. So in the beginning, I went to Home Depot and I was pulling out like paint cards and shit and things like that. I'm finna go get it. So in the beginning, I went to Home Depot, and y'all, me and Home Depot was besties, okay? Them first couple months, me, my mom, my dad, my brother, my aunt, we stayed in Home Depot. I knew that store like the back of my hand. But in the beginning, what I did was I went to like that paint center, and I pulled out some different cards that I wanted paint cards or whatever these called. What is these called? Like swatches. I pulled those out because I knew what I wanted each room to kind of look like. And if you've ever been to the studio, you've seen these colors. So the blues is upstairs, the blacks. You know, I was so excited and I knew exactly how I wanted it to look. So I was like, I'm not gonna waste no time. I went straight to Home Depot. I started to pulling together all of the swatches and all of the y'all help me. What is it called? Like the paint numbers, right? To know what paint bucket I need to get or what colors I need to get mixed. Anyways, y'all, I was doing all of that. Even on the back side, which this is still in the works, I had got some swatches for what type of carpet I wanted in here. And that was another thing too. So going back to, we're gonna jump back a little, legalizing and just like expenses and everything, you need business insurance, y'all. Because the type of business I run, and it's gonna make sense soon. The type of business I run, I have a lot of equipment that I want to insure just in case anything happened, anything got stolen. I wanted to be sure I would be protected. I also wanted to make sure like my customers and everything were protected coming in and out of here. One of the things that I did not know that affected insurance was something as simple like what type of flooring you got in your business. So I really wanted tile and hardwood flooring all up and through here because I really thought that would be easier to clean and all of that, but I really was not thinking about the hazard it could be, how dangerous it could be. Slippery floors. I have a storefront, so coming straight in from outside when it's raining, and I only have one mat in the front as most businesses, but risking the chance of people not even cleaning their feet properly and they're stepping onto the floor, slip and fall, break their neck. Now I'm getting sued. Like I didn't think about all of that until I really got into the process of picking an insurance company. Even with my carpets, I needed to be careful. So the carpets I wanted were like very plush, just soft, and it really gave like homey vibes, because that's the vibes that I wanted the studio to have. It was very homey, comfortable, and somewhere to just jog creativity, right? But unrealistic. I had to change up what type of carpet I wanted up in here. Like I really had to go the more industrial look when it came to my flooring. And again, all of that stuff is still a work in process. There's still things that we have to get done, and I'm a year in, you know, and I still have to worry about getting my carpets changed and fixing certain light fixtures. Like this stuff, it takes time, but that's okay. It gets done regardless. Whew, bless me. But yeah, so I was doing hecka planning when it came to furniture. I created a lot of mood boards. I was getting like the science boards from the dollar store, and I had printouts, and I knew exactly how I wanted everything to look. I was utilizing a lot of online stores. There wasn't much furniture that I got offline except for like IKEA, so like my tables, my chairs, side tables, things like that. I got a bunch of knickknacks, Five Below, Ross. Like I was utilizing everywhere, everything. And I had so much fun doing it, y'all. Like, that was my favorite part, finally being able to see things kind of piece itself together. The part that I hated the most, though, was putting this stuff together. So, that was another thing that I wanted to kind of touch on was, are you going to hire help and contractors, or is you going to get on your hands and knees and do it yourself? Y'all, everything done in this studio, me and my family did ourselves. Like, we called in help here and there. Shout out to my cousin Teddy, because he did some of the light fixtures in here. My mom and I, we was hanging up everything on our own. I did hire someone from a Facebook business group from my area to come and hang up the TVs and my projector and stuff like that. But other than that, y'all, we did everything. All of the painting, repairing drywall, changing some light fixtures, hanging up mirrors, hanging up everything in our bathroom. Like, we did everything, okay? We was here, I was here all day, every day. Like, my family still had to work, and I was still coming in here when I could. My aunt would come in a lot and help me. Shout out to my auntie Teresa. You's a real one. Boy, this is my brother. My auntie is over here, but she don't want to be on camera. I ain't gonna put you on, it's not live, it's no video. But I'm just getting the vlog together. Create Here will be available soon. Create Here will be available soon. But she would come in and help me a lot. Like, it really became a family thing. And it's so funny because our personalities clashed throughout the whole entire time, but we still enjoyed the process. And that was another thing that made me feel more confident and proud about opening my studio, because I knew that I had literally put blood, sweat, and a lot of tears. A lot of tears, okay, y'all, like tears every single day into building this business. Like, it just felt really rewarding. So that's another thing. Are you going to hire contracts, or are you just going to do it yourself? One thing I will say though, hire help when you need to. There's certain things that next time, like our next location, when God blesses us with it, I'm hiring help. Either I'm gonna have to hire contractors, or it needs to be like moving ready, or we're gonna cross our fingers and pray to God that the next location is a property that we can actually purchase. Anyways, we hiring somebody, because there was a lot of things that we spent most of the time on YouTube learning how to do it first, and then we went into doing it. But again, it was still very rewarding, a lot of fun. You know, all you gotta do is throw on some music, get a Bluetooth speaker, buy a couple pieces of chicken, and get something to drink, and y'all should be fine. Ask your friends for help, ask family for help, ask around, y'all. Ask around for help. There was a lot of people that were willing to come and help me. There was one day where I had people come in. It was like 2 or 3 of us. I had people come in. They were helping me put furniture together, especially for my classroom, because all of my chairs literally came in like a million pieces. So that took me all day. But it took us all day putting together my actual tables. I put my siblings to work, and I have a lot of clips of that too. I can't wait to finally release all that footage. But yeah, y'all, hire help or do it yourself. When it also came to cleaning supplies, buy in bulk. Buy in bulk, buy in bulk, buy in bulk. So in the beginning, I was purchasing things as if this was an apartment. Like, I was getting packets of napkins, I was getting a pack of toilet tissue, like things like that, buying little hand soaps. Like, no. And that came with a mindset shift too, y'all. Like, it's almost like I was scared to, because now it seems real. Does that make sense? Like, I was almost like, okay, do I really need to get all this? Because am I going to have this many people come in and out of here? Yeah, you are. Okay, buy it in bulk. So what I did was, I started purchasing online in bulk off of Amazon, and I'm also getting ready to go ahead and pull the trigger. I'm still weighing my options between BJ's, Sam's Club, and Costco's, but I'm gonna go ahead and get a wholesale membership card with one of those distributors or whatever, so that way I can start getting some things locally, and it'll just make it easier. One thing I have learned, another thing I have learned, but purchasing like things for the bathroom was the major thing. Like, that stuff was running, we was running through that stuff like this. Soap, people was running through soap, running through tissue. I provide feminine hygiene products. You don't have to, but I do, because a lot of my customers are women. So I provided that stuff, and we was running through those things. So I was trying to figure out, how can I make this stuff make sense for my budget, but also still be able to provide it to, you know, my customers. And that means buying it in bulk. There are a lot of platforms that you can purchase from online to actually help you build your business credit while still purchasing supplies for your actual business. So that's another thing that we'll dive into in another episode. Or you can always just go ahead and do your own research. I know there's places like Uline. There's places like Uline where you can purchase cleaning supplies and all of that jazz. There's a couple more. I'll probably put them in the description box. Don't forget to read those, by the way. Side note. But yeah, so cleaning supplies, furnishing, hiring contractors or DIY and all of that jazz. Figure that out in the beginning, okay? Figure out what your budget is going to be like, what you're willing to spend, and scout people out. Another thing that I have been seeing a lot, though, that kind of makes me kind of weary and nervous, and it's also super unfair to us, is a lot of contractors who have basically been running off on the plug. Like, you're hiring people, you're giving them thousands and thousands of dollars, they come in for 2 days and you don't see them no more. So do your research, do your due diligence. Contracts, y'all. Contracts. I no longer do anything without a contract. I don't care if we grew up together. You're going to sign this contract. And I need a receipt. So that was another problem I was having too, was people not wanting to give me receipts. It was just too much. It was too much. That's what really helped me make the decision that I'm just going to go ahead. We're going to DIY the rest of this. Knock it out. Let's get it done. But yeah, make those decisions and make it make sense for you during those times. So I'm trying to bring it on in because I don't want to draw the video out too much longer, but we're going to hit on 2 more things. The second to last thing, y'all, location. The location matters. Location. Where you decide to plant your business matters. Okay, so for me, I knew for a fact I needed to either be in a plaza, or if I was going to be in a standoff location, if I was going to be like a single building, I needed to be somewhere where I was going to get a lot of foot traffic regardless. I needed people to see my business, what we do, how they can come and join us, whatever the case may be. The location mattered. So for an example, if you sell hair, you're not going to go get a location in that's predominantly, you know, older white men. They're not purchasing no bundles. They're not purchasing wigs, okay? So do your research on location. One of the things that I did, well, I already knew my location because, of course, I live in the area. I'm from Broward County, so I kind of knew what locations would work best with what I was doing. But another thing that I really did was I looked at the schools that were in the area. Okay, I looked at the schools that were in the area, and I also looked at what type of jobs were in the area. So basically, what type of big corporations or big businesses were in the area. I'm in a pretty good location. Like, I really feel like I blessed up with this one because we got a lot of foot traffic. There's a middle school over in the across from us. Like, there's a lot that happens in this location. It's an essential area. Everybody uses this, you know, this road. I'm on Atlantic, if you know where Atlantic is, if you're from Broward County. So it's very easy to get to. People know where it is. Like, I lucked up with my location. So do your research on your location and what areas you want to be in. We looked at a total of 3 locations in total. We looked at 3 locations in total, and the third one, which is this one, is the one that God was like, this is the one. Again, that's another video for another day, because y'all, this journey was so crazy. Like, this journey was crazy. It was honestly like the fate of God that got us this far. But we'll get to that later. But location. And then, y'all, I want to hit on this last thing because I really do feel like it can be beneficial to you in your business. So one of the things that I talked about in the beginning was just making sure everything was in one place. So one thing I created, and I call it my Biz Binders, okay? So with my Biz Binders, y'all, you see how thick it is. So I actually have to go ahead and switch everything out of here into an actual 2-inch binder. But my Biz Binder, this holds everything that has to do with Create Here Studio. I printed out a label for it. Like, everything that has to do with Create Here Studio is in this one binder. So when I went into actually hiring like a bookkeeper and an accountant, when I needed to go pay bills, every time I paid my rent and I get a receipt, everything that was ever purchased for this business, the receipts are in this little pocket. So all of this is nothing but business receipts. My LLC, my document numbers, my EIN number, my lease agreement, my security information, y'all, everything, my insurance, everything is in this binder. Every time somebody purchased something from my Amazon wish list and it came with a receipt and a slip, I kept it. Y'all, everything, every bill, all my inspections, all my permits, anything I ship to my landlords and they ship back, I keep. Anything I ship off, I make a copy of, and I include every piece of mail that wasn't junk mail. Everything got kept, and everything is going to continue to get kept. I really recommend a business binder. It changed the game for me when it came to organization, making sure I had everything in one place. And it's cute to look at. I love pink. I don't know if you can tell, but I love pink, and it just makes everything super easy, especially when it comes to that time of month where I need to be doing my taxes, the end of the year, when I have my meeting with my bookkeepers and my accounting. Another story for another day. We're gonna do that video, I'm hoping maybe next week, but I'm not making any promises. But bookkeeping and accounting is extremely important in business too. So making sure I had all of the proper documents and I kept everything available. Even if I didn't know how to do it during that time, I made sure I kept it. Or if it didn't even seem important, if it had anything to do with my business, I kept it. Because it's been times where I've had to go back and reference certain things, and I'm glad I kept it because I would have been out of luck if I didn't. So this is what I like to call a Biz Binder. More of this we'll be talking about very soon as well. Like, y'all don't understand. I have a whole plan for y'all in this YouTube channel and the things that we'll be tapping into. it's gonna be lit. It's gonna be lit. Make sure y'all stick around for the ride. But yeah, this is our Biz Binder, and I'll be offering different printables and inserts that you can use to keep track of your Biz Binder. One thing that I've started was I have a log in the front of my binder. Y'all, it's deep, okay? So basically the log allows me to, I write down whatever it is I'm inserting and the date I'm inserting it. I write down whatever it is I'm taking out and the date I took it out, and when I'm putting it back, like I'm keeping track of everything that's in here, because this is super important and this is crucial to my business. Like, the fate of Create Here Studio is here. My business plan is in here. Marketing strategies is in here. Everything that has to do with my brick and mortar is in this binder. So that's pretty much that, y'all. We talked about a lot. We hit on a lot of different topics, discussions. I did a little rambling, but that's okay. But yeah, we talked about a lot. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up there. I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. We pretty much talked about everything, y'all. So yeah, that's that on that. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of The Back End. Don't forget, each and every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, there will be a new episode of The Back End. So you can come and hang out with me on Wednesdays and any day after that and check out whatever we have to talk about for the day or whatever it is that I'm presenting for the day. What else? Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it. If you learned anything, if you have any other questions, there's any other thing that you would like to talk about, that you have concerns on, or any ideas or tips that you may need, leave them in the comment section. I definitely want to chit chat with y'all some more, see what y'all thinking, and y'all can help me jog my creativity as well. If you like this video and if you like weekly vlogs, weekend vlogs, lifestyle videos, entrepreneurial style videos, things of that nature, don't forget to subscribe. Check me out. I promise you'll love it here. But thank you again so much for tuning in, and I'll check back in with y'all next Wednesday at 1 p.m. for another episode of The Back End.